Today's interview is with Cédrick Mahieux. Cédric's a fellow European. He's originally from France, but he lives in Austin, Texas now. And he's in the biochemistry space. So he came over here to study, stayed, and then now is investing in real estate. Started with a single family home. He's done some hard money lending. And recently joined a coaching program to be a multifamily real estate investor. So we talk about why he likes multifamily, or what are the benefits, and but amongst a lot of other good stuff that we talk about. So really fun interview. Stick around for all of that. As always, like and subscribe on Wrestling with Real Estate, the YouTube channel. Go to the WWRE Podcast and give me a 5-star rating and write me a great review. It really does help us. Really help us build this platform. So please go ahead and do that. And I'm looking to speak to as many of you as possible. If you're interested in real estate, in whatever capacity that is, I'd love to get to know you, see if there's any way whatsoever I can help you. So go to the link in the description down below, or go to wrestlingwithrealestate.com and sign up there. But before all of that, stick around for today's awesome interview with Cédrick Mahieux. Hello and welcome to Wrestling with Real Estate, where we look to chokeslam all your real estate problems. I'm your host, former WWE wrestler and now Cirque du Soleil performer, and of course, multifamily real estate investor, Barri Griffiths. Now today we're joined by Cédrick Mahieux. I don't know why my voice went so high there. Cédrick Mahieux. How are you doing, Cédrick?
I'm doing good. Thanks, Barry. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm excited to dive into today's conversation. Two fellow Europeans on the call today, so should be fun. Let's not talk about rugby, I guess. Then we might have to fight over it.
Yeah, especially because you guys beat us at the World Cup, so I don't want to talk about
that. Well, hey, Cédrick, thank you so much for being here. And I'm, like I said, excited to dive into the conversation. But before we do so, do you want to give people an idea about your background, what you've been up to, and what you're up to these days?
Sure. So my name is Cédrick. I'm French, as you can hear. I'm from Bordeaux. I'm a PhD chemist by training. Did my PhD there, moved to the US almost 17 years ago to the date. And I've been working in a corporate world. I worked at the university a bit for 3.5 years, Michigan, California. Then got a job in the oil industry in California for 10 years. And now I've been in Austin, Texas for 4 years.
Okay, cool. And then where and when did real estate come into all of this?
Well, actually, I would say pretty recently, but it was always in my background. In my mind for a long time. So when I was a student, I thought about, it looks pretty cool to do flipping housing, like houses. And at the time I was young and naive enough to think that to make money, I have to do everything by myself. And I'm not really patient, not really handy. So I put that on the side, and I was doing good at school. I like chemistry, so I didn't bother. I moved to the US, and eventually I got, in a sense, fortunate to be able to buy a house after the recession in California. I wouldn't have been able to buy a house before that, actually. And for the time I stayed in California, I was able to get a big appreciation on my house by the time I moved out and I came to Austin. And that sparked again my interest in real estate a bit. And I would say that was in 2018 at the time. 2016. And when I came to Austin, I bought a house here. 2018, I decided to buy a single family home as a rental. Initially, I was more in the mind of the rat race, as you can say, where I was kind of looking at the liability aspect of life, consuming and traveling, trips, restaurants, all this stuff. And in 2018, we were supposed to actually to build a pool, and for some reason it didn't happen. So I said to my wife, let's buy real estate. And at the time we started to buy, we bought a single family home here in Austin, Texas, that we have been renting since then. And that was pretty much it. But in 2019, I completely changed my mindset. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, pretty a classic. And I heard Brandon Turner, sorry to make some advertisement for someone else on the side.
Go ahead. I'm a big fan of bigger pockets myself. So yeah, you can advertise them all you want. I'm a big fan myself.
I don't want to argue with you, so that's fine. So yeah, and so that completely changed my mindset at the time. And I thought I want to pursue and to look into real estate. And I think it was kind of a midlife crisis as well, you can call that. And so in 2019, I spent my time educating myself about real estate, what we can do. And I had the goal as well to have to be able to eventually retire from my W-2 job in a few years down the road and spend time with my kids and my wife. I travel quite a lot with my W-2 job, and that's sometimes difficult for the family and for myself. So I thought, I would like to be more in control of my time. And so in 2019, as I said, I tried to educate myself a lot, attending some meetups, local meetups here in Austin, reading books, listening to podcasts, a lot of things like that, and try to see what kind of asset product would be interesting for me to invest in. You have so many options in real estate that it's kind of overwhelming. I didn't want to spread too thin, right? And so eventually, based on my goals, I thought, hey, maybe commercial multifamily will be interested in investing. And so in 2020, that's pretty much the year I decided to take action. And so I've done a few things. I started to dive into hard money lending. I like the concept where you can lend money to people, and assuming they pay you back, you make a nice profit. So I've started to do that, working with a group here. We put our fund together in Austin, and also dive into the commercial aspect of the real estate, the multifamilies. And initially, I was planning to go with a passive investment. I didn't want to take too much risk. I don't want to compromise what I have, and have the family sleeping in a car or something and take too much risk. But eventually I started to understand better the concepts after I networked with some folks, and I decided to become an active investor. And I actually joined a community called Jake and Gino. You might have heard about. And that was last year in April. And since then, I've been working as developing as an active investor in the Austin area.
Nice.
So that's kind of my journey, pretty recent.
Yeah, very cool. There's a lot of cool stuff there to dive in. So, are you still in the oil and gas industry now? What do you do now?
No, actually, I switched. When I moved to Austin, actually, I got a job in a family-owned company here in Austin, and I'm a technology director, a manager, if you want, for this chemical company. So it's something I like. I like doing that. It's pretty fun as well too. But at the same time, I want to develop more as an entrepreneur, looking at real estate and potentially other options too. So that's where I am today.
Yeah, very cool. When you said you bought just after the last recession in California, what do you know what kind of drop in prices they were having there? Because I know here in Vegas it was like 50, 60, even 70% on certain deals, right? It was just here in Las Vegas, it was just absolutely insane. But I doubt it was the same in California, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, actually, the house we eventually bought was initially the top price before the recession was close to $1 million. And we got it for half of that.
Wow.
535 actually. Yeah. So we were pretty lucky. I mean, we got a really nice house and big house I had a bar in the house. I mean, pretty cool, like pretty nice stuff. And we've got lucky, in a sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah, lucky, but at the same time, you guys were willing to buy as well. Like luck is I catch myself. I say lucky all the time, but it's where hard work meets opportunity, right? You created that situation where you were able to buy the house, right? You had a job that you were, and you could buy a $500,000 house. So yeah, that's cool. So then in 2018, you said, right, that you bought your first rental property, right? That was a single family home. Talk us through that one. What kind of deal was that? Did you buy something that needed work? Did you buy something that was turnkey? What did that look like?
Yeah, so I didn't know, I was not at all educated. I thought like to build a portfolio in real estate, you buy a house and you wait for appreciation, all this stuff. So we looked at the location. We thought it was kind of trendy, and then we looked at a bit of the number. But to be honest, I didn't know anything about cash on cash return, all this stuff. I mean, when I think about that, I was really a novice at everything. It worked out pretty well because we still looked at different parameters, but. We decided to buy, actually, it was a single family home that was a brand new house in a nice suburb in Austin, where actually there's a lot of things ongoing. It's close to a lot of IT. There's a lot of IT in Austin right now, and it's close to that. It was a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. And the house has actually a big den on the second floor. And we thought about building a 4th bedroom, actually. And there was enough room for that. So we added a wall, put a door, and we were able to actually to put a 4th bedroom that help us to increase the rent and the cash flow, actually. So that's what we did. And we have been renting it, and this is covering the mortgage, especially with the interest rate right now so low. We were able to refinance and we get even more. And the appreciation in the area is pretty good. I mean, if you look at Austin, even with the COVID right now, we're talking between 4 and 5% appreciation every year. So that's not too bad. That's working well.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. I recently interviewed an appraiser, a residential appraiser, and he was saying the few things that add value to the home is adding a bedroom, adding square footage, and making the kitchen and the bathroom nice. Those are the main things that they look for when they value. So if, like you said, like you're able to add a bedroom, not only are you able to get more rent and get more cash flow, but you're adding value to the home as well. So the value of the actual home. So anytime, that's always something that I always try and look at if I'm looking at single family homes as properties is, can I add a bedroom? Can I add square footage? Because that's just an easy way to add value to the property. So I think that's cool that you guys were, and like you said, you guys didn't necessarily know too much at the time, but you were smart enough to figure that out. So that's cool. So then you said that you started doing some, and actually backtrack a little bit. I completely resonate with the shiny object syndrome, right? You get into real estate and everything sounds good, right? You want to do everything because everything sounds amazing, and you're trying to decide what you do, and everything is. I've been caught, and even to this day, I still find it sometimes because I interview all kinds of different people and speak to all kinds of different people. I'm like, wow, maybe I should try that, and I'm like, no, wait, stop, stop a second, backtrack, and just focus on one thing. But you also have done some. So do you still do hard money lending, or was that just a spell that you did that for?
No, I started actually the way it works in this model. So again, that's the same kind of approach where I want to learn first before becoming fully independent in doing this. So I started to join a group of people who put their money together. So there is like an active hard money lender who has been doing that for a while, like almost like 8 years now, and has very good performance and good, reviews, like I've learned a little bit about him. And so pretty much we put our money together, and people in the Austin area who need money for a flip or anything, they come to us, they say, I need the money. So obviously we do like the hard money lending aspect, right? Where we give with a preferred rate, which is fairly high usually, but we don't have all the guarantee that the bank would have, obviously. And so we collect the money. So at this point, I'm just like a passive investor, meaning like I put some money down, and every quarter we get the money, or you can decide to reinvest it. And so the interest is pretty high. I mean, you get at least 10%. I mean, you have different categories, but you can go up to, I'm investing in 2 different portfolio, I would say, and one of them is doing pretty well. I mean, knocking on wood for now, like we are on the APR close to 16% almost. So it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't know if it will last, but it's good in this kind of environment today.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's a great return, especially seeing you're somewhat passive, right? Like you said, you did some research up front. So do you, I'm guessing you fully understand the model, right? What kind of people are you guys lending to in that company? Do you know? Clicks and flippers, buy and holds, a little bit of both?
Yeah, so you have, usually, for hard money lending, because the rate is so high, that people who need the money just for, temporarily, right? So most of them are people who are going to need the money for rehab, doing a flip, as you said, already in case on emergency because they need the money right away to buy something and then refinance and get like a conventional financing. And that's pretty much what we are doing right now, I would say. Yes, and on my side, I'm planning to be more diligent as well, because as I said, I start to invest as a passive investor, but I want to learn the rope as well too. So I've been in touch with the person doing this, and I'm trying to learn as well, to spend time and dive more into the system, how it works as well, because I would like to continue that on my own eventually later as well, or maybe in group, but leading the group to do that.
Yeah. Well, the lending side of stuff is a cool business model, right? Because essentially you're being the bank, right? And who doesn't want to be the bank, right? There's a reason these banks are big and powerful or whatever, right? Because that's a great model, right? It's like being like the casino. The banks always win, right? They ultimately almost always get their money. So it's kind of a great model.
Yeah, and the only thing is you have to be kind of careful in a sense that if the person is not able to pay for any reason, what do you do? So you want to make sure you have a contract in place where actually usually you get the property back. You have the first in line to get, I mean, depends where you are in the lending, right? Sometimes you have different layers, but you are the first one to get the property. So you want to make sure that you do your due diligence as well, because you don't want to have the deal in your arms, as we say in French, that you don't know what to do with it, right? So that's the kind of things I want to learn as well. What kind of criteria actually we are using as a group to decide, okay, that's a good deal. We want to invest with these people or help these people to move forward with their projects.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so what was it about commercial real estate that attracted you, and commercial multifamily that attracted you?
A different thing. So, I mean, one thing as well I did. So, I put some what we call kind of SMART goal, specific, measurable, attainable, all this.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, by this year, I want to reach that kind of income, passive income. And I thought, if I invest in in single family home or other products, I might not get there. So I thought the multifamily aspect, the economy of scale will help me potentially to get there, at least give me the tools to try to reach my objectives. And there are several things I like in the multifamily aspect too. Is there are a lot of advantages as well. So when you look at appreciation, for instance, when you look at single family home, you base your appreciation every year based on the market around what kind of price house sales or people can buy the houses, right? In multifamily, it's kind of different, and you might be familiar with that, right? So it depends on your NOI and your cap rate, right? So if you're able to buy something at a low price and increase the value pretty quickly, your property is going to increase in value exponentially.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't depend necessarily, oh, I got 4% this year or 5%. It depends how much you put and how good is your business model.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of them. And as I mentioned too, I'm not really a patient guy. So whatever I can do to accelerate the process, I would do it.
Yeah, me too.
And so the other things too, excuse me, I like is actually the tax depreciation. That's something that works on single family, but the cost segregation, that you working on a multifamily, that's really something that I think takes all its value, right? If you can buy something and show, you can do the cost segregation, you can itemize each item and show the depreciation faster than what the IRS wants you to do, right? The 27.5 years, I think. That adds a lot of value because you can make quite some income and still able to deduct this for the first few years. You're able to deduct at least, up to maybe 40% of your income. Even more sometimes. So that's pretty cool. And you're not doing anything illegal. You're just playing with the system, right? In a sense. The other thing too I like, one of them pretty important to me, I think, is the impact on the community. The fact that you can, so my business model is more to buy properties where you can add value. I'm not looking at to A class, for instance, where actually the high rise is pretty nice. It's pretty good. But I'm looking more at some properties where you can make some improvements. And at the same time, if you do this, you're going to have the people living there. And so I hope making something safer, bringing the neighborhood together, making it better. I feel better doing this. If I can help people, I think that's rewarding as well too. So you can help some people if you invest with some folks you can help them to build wealth. And at the same time, you can help other people who live there, the residents, to have maybe a better life, a safer life. I'm amazed to see how many reviews you go on Google, you get apartments, how many bad reviews. Obviously, it's harder to post a good review than a bad one. Usually we post when we are not happy, right?
That's true.
But it's amazing to see how many complain about simple things, right? Electricity hasn't been working, the laundry doesn't work. I feel bad for these people. And that's kind of, that's also kind of tricky in a sense, because I've been looking at some properties where I saw the property in really bad shape. And I feel bad. We need to help these people. At the same time, it's also a business, and you want to make sure you don't put your career, whatever, in jeopardy, right? So you want to help them, but you want to make sure that the numbers make sense as well too. So you need to find the right balance. But long story short, that's one of the aspects I like actually in the multifamily, that you can really change a neighborhood. And the other thing too, I think when you look at multifamily, so let's say if I want to buy 20 single family homes or 20 apartments, I think I will go with 20 apartments in one location. If I have to deal with 20 single family homes, most likely they're not all together in the same place. you have to go all over the place if you want to manage that. You have to deal with different issues. When you talk with the apartments, everything is under the same roof. So I pretty much, if you have to deal with a problem, it will be there. It might be the same problem in different units, but at least it kind of concentrated. So I think it's less of a headache to do that. And the other thing too, I like is, well, I mean, it's kind of the BRRRR. You can do that in single family at home as well too, but you can re-inject some of the money you get out. And of course, it's an economy of scale. So you can, whatever money you can take out, you can re-inject something bigger and have a larger impact. So I think instead of having an impact with a slope like that with single family home, for instance, I think with a multifamily, if you do that well, you can accelerate that.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a long answer.
No, it's great. No, I agree with all of that. Like to touch on some of those points, like you said, that's another thing I like about multifamily is that you're not relying on the market to go up, like you said, 4%, right? You're controlling the NOI, you're increasing the rents, you're lowering the expenses, you're finding other ways to add value to the property, right? And you're doing that, right? You're in control, right? Whereas a lot of times in residential single families, you're at the mercy of the market right now. Of course, you can improve the property and create value like that, but there's a ceiling on how much you can improve it, right? Essentially, with multifamily, there's no ceiling, right? Okay, there's a ceiling in terms of how much you can get for rents, but there's no ceiling in terms of how much you increase the value. If you can, if you can increase the rents, lower the expense, increase the rents massively, lower the expense massively, well, you've improve the property massively and improve the value massively, and that's all in your control. So that was one of the things I really liked about it, and you obviously brought it up there. And then you had obviously the thing about having one roof, right? Well, going to that same example, 20 single family properties, how much time is it going to take you to buy 20 single family properties? You've got to analyze, to find one, how many 10 properties, you've got to make how many offers to get one, how many inspections, that's 20 different inspections, you might need 20 different property managers on that because they might be in different areas, so you find one property, 20 units, one property manager, one inspection, one analysis, and it's kind of, you can grow so much bigger. Plus as well, like you said, with the BRRRR model, yes, you can do that with single families, but if you have a $200,000 home or you have a $2 million property and you BRRRR both of those, which one are you getting the most value, right? You're able to take out cash out refinance money on both, but I'm guessing on the $2 million property, you're going to be taking out a lot more, and that's tax-free money that you can use to reinvest. So I think that's a powerful tool as well. Yeah.
And the other thing maybe also is also the resilience. Actually, if you look at multifamily compared to other things, I mean, if you look at today about returns, I mean, that's pretty bad right now today, right? So if you look at through recession, I think multifamily has been behaving pretty well, like standing pretty well its ground compared to other assets. So that's another argument too, why I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. So have you been on the active side yet, or are you still looking for your first deal?
Well, I'm actually on the active side in a sense, like I've been kind of developing a network of people around me, like a real estate attorney, contractor, having the team together, like having people working with me. So I have some partners as well here in Austin I'm working with. We actually submitted an LOI back in December on a property. That was pretty fun, pretty cool to do. Still waiting for some feedback. To be honest, I don't expect it will go further because we're kind of far from the price, but we wanted to stick to our numbers and we tried to play with it. But you want to make sure you're careful there. And right now we're actually looking at another property which is off market, really interesting property. But for some different reason, I might actually back off the deal because I don't like too much the way it's going, some of the discussion with the seller. And I think we are looking at things where we're not going the right way to go through the process. And I'm kind of concerned that we might lose more than our share there. So I'm kind of maybe conservative. I don't know, but I feel better. Like my gut says, like I have to be careful there.
Yeah.
So I'm on the active side in a sense. I'm looking at.
No, sounds like you're very active, but there's some interesting stuff there. So what are you in the Dallas market? Is that where you're looking to buy? Where are you?
No, I'm in Austin. I'm looking in the Austin MSA. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's a pretty hard MSA as well, right? That's a pretty competitive MSA.
It is obviously because Austin is really hot market right now, and I mean even with COVID, and there are a lot of people here, really seasoned investor. A lot of people want to put their money. People have money right now. Some have money and they want to play, and so it's really competitive. So I'm trying to look at different options, how we can create differentiation as small guys starting in the business, and because usually you get all the crumbles that all the big guys don't want anymore. So you want to create the connection with the right folks, and uh, try to develop some strategies where you can actually have access to some properties that are not on the market yet.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to look into this more and trying to develop some system put in place.
Yeah, that kind of brings me to my next point. Like, I know firsthand from my experience that starting out, it's tough, right? To gain that credibility, because you haven't, when you're starting out, you don't have a long list of deals that you've done and experience that you have. So people don't always take you maybe as seriously. How have you built your team to start off with? How did you find your team members, and how did you build a team, and what were you looking for in team members?
Yeah, good question. I think the main one, the main lead I had was to go to local meetups where you just go, you meet folks, you discuss, and by discussion, you say, hey, you start to be friend with a guy, and you say, oh, I know a good guy, and that's how you connect. I think that's the best way to meet people. I think I think for people who are concerned, introvert, don't want to go to meetups, I think that's you have to push yourself to go there because the value you get out of that is huge. At the same time, so I've met a lot of people like that. I've done some due diligence searching on the web as well and trying to read reviews on people and interview people as well too. I reach out of the blue and I have my Excel document where I ask some questions, see what they're doing, get the feeling, get a Zoom call like what we're doing right now, and see if you get a vibe, what they know. And then after probe with the people, I start to know, hey, have you heard about these people? What do you know? And I think also being in the Jack and Gino community has helped me a lot. It's a big network, a lot of tremendous people, and pretty much you can find anybody you want there. So if I go on the community and I say, hey guys, I'm looking for this, I'm sure in the next 10, 15 minutes, I will have an answer of someone seriously competent that could help me. So that's how I've developed kind of the team. And my goal, so I like to go to, I don't like to reinvent the wheel. So I want eventually to have partners helping a team that we get a system. So when everything goes, the deal flows, everybody knows exactly what to do, and we can tackle as many deals as we can. That's the idea. So that's what I'm doing. And also, I'm looking at investors and people I'm investing with because that's a big part as well too. And this, I've done some work on for bigger pockets. Actually, I looked at one of the podcasts and I analyzed some data actually on my own for my own sake, and I shared that with the community bigger pockets, and actually that worked very well. And after that, a lot of people reached out to me actually, and it was really interesting to see that I did that last year. So really, when I started my real estate like focus, so no experience. I don't pretend I'm doing anything, right? But it's really interesting to see that just the fact I posted something that worked actually, and that was actually cited in one of the podcasts. People reach out to me and say, "I want to invest with you," and I said, "Okay, cool." I mean, I don't know anything, but and that helps you to step up your game as well too. So I think it's important you put yourself out of your comfort zone, reach out people, be open-minded, talk to people. You never know what will happen, and so that's how actually I'm building my team and my network, I think.
Yeah, I think just like you said, the network is so important, right? And also uh, having reach, right? Having outreach to these people, right? Finding a way to touch these people, because unless people hear about you and find out what's going on with you, they're never going to consider investing with you because they don't know who you are, right? How can you touch someone who doesn't know who you are, right? So, but by doing stuff like you said with bigger pockets and stuff like that, that's a great way to kind of to be out there and to be meeting people essentially. Out of interest, tell us more about this article that you wrote. So that I think got downloaded 5,000 times, right, or a lot of times, right?
Yeah. I'm close to that. So, but pretty much, I mean, if you listen to the real estate the podcast, they do have there is a section of the show called the Famous Four where they ask all the same four questions to all the guests. So your favorite business book, your favorite real estate books, what are your hobbies, and what separates a successful investor to someone who hasn't been successful so far. And I'm kind of a data geek. I'm a scientist. So I wanted to understand if there's a pattern in all the answers, you know. I don't expect them to play all golf. Maybe they could, but that wasn't what I was looking for. But still, I tried to put together some data and try to analyze that. And after I did that, I thought, you know, it was really interesting. Actually, I learned a lot. And I thought, I'm going to share that with the community. I'm getting so much for free with this community. So I actually reach out the executive and I say, hey guys, can I post something? I had a concern that I was using their information, so there could be a copyright issue, infringement, and I didn't want to be on jail just by trying to help people.
Yeah.
And so eventually they say, yeah, go for it. I posted that and I started to have 1 like and 2 likes and comments, 3 like, and I was telling my wife, look, people like it. You know, I was pretty happy if I could help people, right?
Yeah.
And then it started to ramp up and 10, 50, 100, and I got message from Brendan, from the CEO as well. I mean, it was pretty, I was like, wow. And eventually Brendan said, oh, I would talk about your stuff. And he talked about my stuff at the podcast. I mean, it was pretty cool. I mean, and people reach out, they say it was really valuable. So I feel really good about that.
Yeah. What were the patterns? Were there any patterns that you found?
Sorry, you're breaking. What did you say?
Oh, did you find any patterns was there any patterns in people's answers? What did you find? What did your research find?
Oh, the pattern. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Actually, there are few takeaway. I mean, I think that, I mean, the books were really interesting because you could see what people likes. And there's a bunch of books that were cited, but there were a few of them that were coming back. So Rich Dad Poor Dad obviously came back like a big one, right? But you had a lot of book about mindset. And to me, that was one of the biggest takeaway. Uh, that was the mindset. Like if you don't have the mindset, you're not going to get there, right? So usually when Brendan and actually David Green, for instance, talks about the what you need to do, they talk about the knowledge, hustle, and money, the foundation triangle. And to me, after I read the data, I said, well, you need the fourth component, which is the mindset, because you can have all of them. If you're not ready in your mind, that won't happen. Mm-hmm. So that was a big takeaway. The other one I found really interesting was actually how people are, all these successful people are really philanthropic, philanthropist in proper English, maybe. But it was interesting to see that once you don't have to think about how you're going to pay your bill or think about liability, buying the latest car, something, people have money and they feel comfy, you can really see the real, I mean, maybe it's kind of utopic to say that, but the real nature of human being, that they want to help each other. And they have been doing so many works. And I think that was pretty good to see that these people now, they're not just focusing on the right race and just looking around. They want to help others without asking anything. I found it was a good takeaway.
Yeah, no, I love that, and that's something I've noticed and realized, you know, for quite a bit now, right? Because I think what happens is to a lot of people, if you're, say, a millionaire, the word millionaire, right, that strikes a picture in the normal person's mind of someone that's just obsessed with money, only cares about money. They want to have $1 million in the bank, and that's it, right? That's and they want to drive a Ferrari and they want to live in a big house. That's it, right? But the more you realize, the more you speak to people, the more people make money, the more they want to give, right? You know, for the most part, right? Because I think they realize that the money is bigger than them, and they also realize that, I don't know, I just think that to be successful as well, a lot of times it helps to be a good person, I think. You know, if you're a good person, I think it really does help to be successful because other people want to help you and it's going to lead to the success. So those people, when they're successful, they want to help other people. I've noticed that time and time again. And I'm glad you pointed out, because sometimes I think, because this is a real estate show and we talk about real estate and financial freedom and, you know, ROI and cash on cash and IRR and making that money, right? That people can get the misconception that we're just obsessed with money. No, for the majority of us, and I think you alluded to earlier that you were looking for something else to create financial freedom so that you have that freedom with your kids, right? And it's the same with me. It's not about a dollar amount to me. It's a dollar amount in terms of what it means in terms of freedom, but it's not like, hey, I need this number for me to feel good about myself or to feel fancy, you know? It's something else. And I think also when I get to that number, I already give stuff away, but I would like to even give even more because I don't know, it just feels good, right? I think.
I completely agree, actually. It's really weird because I was on the other side of the spectrum where, like, I mean, we bought a big house, as I mentioned. We love traveling. Okay, we are travel addicts, but we were traveling every month. going to a restaurant twice a week. I have 6 watches. I love watches. Okay, why not buying watches? Going shopping every week, like spending money. I thought, that I was living the dream. That's it. I was 30. I reached, that's it. There's nothing else for me to do.
Yeah.
And then my mindset completely shifted. And I said, gosh, I was all right. I mean, not necessarily right, but yeah, I was not going the direction I want to go. And now my goal, as you said, it's not, I mean, if I have money, if I can drive a Lamborghini, whatever, I mean, I will be happy, of course, but that's not my main priority.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have the luxury of time and the quality of time with my family. And the other will be bonus. So right now, to be honest, I haven't done shopping for more than a year. Like I do buy, okay, I'm not going to be like standing with shirt and horse and stuff like that, obviously, but uh, I haven't, I'm not even looking at that anymore. Like I'm not even watching TV anymore. My wife is in the same mindset right now. We just focus on our goal, our vision to spend time with our kids, travel the world, and maybe help other people. That's a big thing we want to achieve. We want to be able to travel in a place and have construction project, build a school somewhere, have the kids involved and do something. I think it's much more rewarding than just saying I have $100 million on my account. I mean, people who have it might say, yeah, right, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. But like it's interesting. Like I go to some meetups and people at the beginning, they ask everybody in the audience, what are your goals? And some guys say, I want to be part of the $1 billion club. And I'm thinking, for what? I mean, you reach it and are you going to be happier? I'm not sure, I think that's, for me, that was a key takeaway. Understand what are your whys, what do you want to achieve? And it can be, money actually is not a final goal. It's a tool for you to reach where you want to be. That's what my big takeaway coming from the other side of the spectrum, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. And money can do so, like, again, like, because I say it, people listen regularly. I say this all the time because people have a misconception about money, right? Money can do so much good, right? Just because you want money, it's in society, it's made to seem evil if you care about money, right? Nobody talks about money. Don't talk about money. Don't talk about what you have in the bank or what, blah, blah, blah. It's evil. It's bad. It's no good, right? But money can do so much good, right? Like, how do you give homeless person a place to live, right? If you want to buy him a house or give him some shelter, you need money to do that. If you want to feed people in another country, right? How do you do that? You need money to do that, right? Money can do good. Okay, money can be used can be seen as evil for certain people, but there can be so much good that you can do with money. And I think if people focused on that more, you know what I mean, it would help a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, in my journey, I'm not yet where I want to be because I've been with this mindset all my life. I mean, I grew up with the mindset of, okay, you go to school, you get good grades, you get diplomas, and then you get a good job, you retire, you can enjoy your money if you can work, right? And actually, this is more than that. I mean, the only thing I want to be is really, I want to say something specific, but yeah, I mean, it's spending the time with my kids, and the money is really secondary. Sorry, I'm kind of repeating myself. I want to say something else.
No. Yeah, no, it's good. And I'm sorry that I'm off on a tangent here, but I think maybe someone who's just starting out in real estate investing or wants to start, or they may be hearing this kind of stuff for the first time. I think it's just so important for them to hear that, it's okay for one to want money, but also don't just want money, or you can want it for whatever you want. But in my opinion, you should want it for financial freedom and for the good that it could do more than just to have money. So, but sometimes I think, society, this kind of conversation doesn't happen. So I'm happy to have it on here as much as I can, just so if I hear, one person hears this and it kind of changes their mindset towards money, that would be, that would make me really happy. But
definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Well, hey, fun conversation, man. I really enjoyed this conversation, man. It's a lot of fun. Two Europeans talking in the US is always cool to me. But as this show's called Wrestling with Real Estate, I like to incorporate some wrestling-related real estate questions. Sure. So my first question is, what would your wrestling name be if you picked one for yourself?
That's a tough one, Wrestling name. I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm maybe not really creative right now on the spot.
I feel like you need to be the chemist or something like that, right? And you can come to the ring and you could be making potions and stuff like that. And you can give some potions to the opponent and then poison them or something like that. That's how you win the match.
Yeah, or maybe the winemaker, close to the Undertaker, because I'm coming from Bordeaux. I don't know. It's not really lame, but I don't know.
The winemaker. Okay, cool. That works. So every wrestler has a special move. What is your special move in real estate?
So something I'm good at, you would say?
Yeah. What is your biggest strength, you think, in real estate?
I think my biggest strength, and it's really interesting because in this journey, this new chapter, I mean, something I confirmed several key takeaway, I would say, like, so I know I'm able to go outside my comfort zone. You know, I could settle for the life I have right now and have a happy life. It's being able to get out of my comfort zone, not being afraid to get out, educate myself. And something I learned too, I knew I was like that, but I really put some words on that, is being a connector. So I feel really good connecting people and say, okay, I know this guy needs something there, and I know a guy who could help him. So I put them together. I think that's really valuable for me. Learning, I can network and bring value to some folks without having necessarily something in return. I think it's just giving, the pleasure of giving. Um, that's my strength. I think I'm able to connect with a lot of people like that together. And as my network is expanding, I can do that even better.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a great skill to have, right? Because you connect people, people want to help you as well, right? It's reciprocity, right? If you can just help other people, they can help you as well.
Cool. Yes, exactly.
What's been the biggest body slam you've taken in your real estate investing career, you think?
So I have a young career right now, so I wouldn't say I've taken any specifically. I mean, I may share maybe the most unpleasant one. So when I did the work for Bigger Pockets, a lot of people reach out to me. Some people reach out to me to help them actually doing some data analysis and had some cool projects. And there's one person actually reached out to me and presented a concept, an idea, and we discussed. We had a good discussion, and I put everything together like a model on how we could get there, and was doing presentation. And I sent that to the person, and the person never got back to me, like zero. Like, and when we finished the meeting, the person said, "Oh, we can talk next week about that." And I said I would send something by then. And it kind of how do you call ghosting? I think.
Yeah, ghosting.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. And I reached out on several occasions, and I would say, "Hey, I don't know." I even said to the point, if I offended you in so many aspects, I'm sorry. And I don't. The person never replied to me, and I don't, maybe something happened to the person, right? It could be like, never know. But actually, no, the person was really active on the social media, so it looks like everything was fine. So to me, that's maybe minor to what people can have, like something have a burr going wrong. Like I have a friend actually right now, it's happening, it's really bad. So nothing bad for me. That so for now, that's the most unpleasant one because I'm not sure what I did wrong. I was trying to help. I put some time and effort on that, and I haven't heard anything back from the person. I don't know. So that's kind of my experience there.
Yeah.
I won't say any name. Don't ask me.
So was there a moment that you were standing on the top rope getting ready to jump, but you were too scared? What was it, and how did you overcome it?
I can cite several. I think starting in this journey, and when so I started to join the Jack and Gino community, and then after you need to take action, right? It's good to look at the theory, but you want to fall into the paralysis by analysis, right? We talk about that, and as a guy, a scientist geek, I mean, I like to analyze and read and stuff, educate myself. And you never know when's the best point to jump, right? And I think one of them was to reach out people in the field, like brokers, and tell them, "Hey, I'm an investor," because I felt like a scam. I mean, I'm just starting. I reach out this guy, say, "Hey, I'm investing in Austin. I'm doing this. I barely know. I mean, I pretty much know nothing. I'm not seasoned anything." And I tell the guy, "Yeah, I'm interested in investing and all this stuff." So I do all this speech. I'm not lying, right? I'm telling the truth, but I felt like a scam. So I hesitated quite a lot before jumping and calling someone because I felt, oh my gosh, you guys so lame. I mean, you're nobody and you're going to claim you invest in Austin. I mean, so that was taking action, reach out to people in the field. And I think it's better done is done is better than perfect, because I could have spent my time educating myself and being like, okay, now you know a lot on the theory, and then reach out people. I think you just have to jump and adjust, and see how it goes on the fly, I would say. So that was, I think, the one I took eventually action, but it took some time.
Yeah, no, that one is a real one for a lot of us, right? Even to this day, right? It can be intimidating calling brokers because they're the ones getting all the deals, and they're very experienced, right? If if you don't have that wealth of experience yourself, you're trying to persuade them that they're going to take you seriously and that they should send you the best deals and that you're going to close and that you're going to do what you say you do, right? But it definitely, I can completely relate, and I know a lot of other people can relate to that as well. So thanks for sharing.
And it's really interesting, the mindset again, because you find all the excuse to not call and say, yeah, it's not a good time, I need to go get groceries. You find any excuse in the world. So eventually try it. I mean, if there's anybody listening to, I can speak to, I mean, try once and you would say there's nothing wrong that will happen. So worst case, okay, maybe you look like a fool. Okay, fine, you tried. And you know, like someone say there's no winning and losing, it's winning and learning. And for me, that's a big takeaway as well too. It's one of the mindset, what I learned from the bigger pockets, like the more you fail, the more you can learn and experience and become successful. So don't be afraid of that.
Yeah, I've also heard, and I think I maybe did it myself, when you first start out, pick a market that you have no interest whatsoever in investing and call some brokers up there and practice like that. So if you, rather than calling the brokers in your market first, that you actually want to have a relationship, call ones in different market and maybe do 10 different markets that you have no interest in whatsoever, so you get that conversation. So then by the time you do speak to the ones that you want to create that relationship, you've
that's a good
wasted,
one, yeah.
you wasted your bad conversations on other people. So that's something.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's interesting.
Yeah, cool. Well, hey man, Cédric, thank you so much for making the time, and I really appreciate it. A really interesting interview. I'm excited what's coming next for you, right? There's obviously going to be a lot that comes for you, I'm sure. And maybe in the future we can get you on and do a round 2, right, of where you are. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing everything. But if people want to find out more about you, maybe want to get in touch with you and whatnot, how can they do so?
Yeah. So first of all, I wanted to thank you, Barry, for the opportunity to discuss. I mean, it's great to have a chat with you and hopefully to help some people out there. So reach out to me. I'm on Facebook. My name, you can see it on the screen, Cédrick Mahieux somewhere. Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram as well, Cédrick.33. You will find me there. And please feel free to reach out if you have any question. There's no dumb question or anything. So I will be happy to help. And that's good as well too. You know, like when people reach out to me, that question, I didn't know the answer. That forced me to step up my game and say, okay, I need to get back with something real. I don't want to be a scam, right? So yeah, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, make sure, reach out, guys, because you never know where a connection can make, right? You know, experience or non-experience, right? You know, we all start somewhere, and it's all relationships, right? And the more relationships you can make, the more success you'll have in this business. So,
yeah, if you want to talk about wine as well or motorcycle, whatever, you can reach out as well. Not just real estate, okay?
Very cool. Well, hey, Cédric, thank you so much, man. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I really appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much, Barry. Likewise. Take care.